Awesome. So let's talk about real estate tours worldwide, what it is, who is it for, and also if you want to be part of it, what will be the process. Real estate tours worldwide is an immersive experience designed for exclusive international real estate professionals and investors. So this is for buyers and agents. We'll go through every single step. Do have your phone ready. We have some QR codes to scan. And if you scan them, you can go straight to the website. Also, we'll have these links attached to the video below. And they're also already in the Zoom chat if you want to click on them. I wanted to show a video, but since the sound might not be, fully, I will put the video below. But if you scan this QR code, we'll take you straight to the website. Our website is super easy. We're connected to realestatetoursworldwide, and that's an effort we started literally last year. So 1 year anniversary in December. And we saw the need for it because EXP gives us everything, the infrastructure, the agent support, the training and everything, but now we need sales. We need to feed the sales into the agents. So the real estate tour is an effort to create those sales, lead generation, people who come and see the places and go to the location. These are pictures of the prior events that we had. We had a Christmas event as well, a white Christmas. We do visit job sites. We go and see new home developments, the model homes. So you'll see anything from we just go and see the land all the way to go and see the final products on the luxury side of things. So that and everything in between. So please do introduce yourself, your name, where you're from, your current market and location, and what you want to learn more about. We do have weekly calls, and I'll share more about that. But what's your expectation from this group? The idea with this is to create a community that we talk to each other, and will you leverage the network from EXP to expand your team or to expand your sales? If you scan this QR code, we'll take you to our YouTube. We're Unicorn Group, Unicorn Properties with EXP. And with that, I'm going to go over my intro. If you scan this other QR code, it'll take you to my Instagram. We post everything in Instagram. You get notified of everything that we're doing, where we're going, who we share content with. We do a lot of collaborations. I want to start doing more lives. So if you want to do a live together about the country you're in, that would be great, because the more content we put out there for education, the more we help people understand what we do, especially in the international side. Our channel is called Unicorn Properties in YouTube. My Insta is nathalysalas _ I am based in Chicago, been for 20 years, and my passion is selling the Caribbean, especially in Mexico. So I specialize in Mexico as a market, and I do the from A to Z on the client discovery call and the transaction. And I cover the East Coast right now with my team, but we have team members in my downline that cover most of the area in Mexico. And my goal is to grow at least one agent in every country EXP is in. So hopefully your goal is similar, so we can work together. We're part of Unicorn Properties within EXP, and we do our international real estate group. We're literally focused on international full-time, and our main goal is to do great connections and create a community that can trust each other. The purpose of the call on Thursdays, if you join Thursday 9:30 Central Time, you see that we showcase 2 countries per month. The country will present 2 times. So the first part will be the theory, like what is the country like, opportunities, the demographics, politics, exchange rates, all the why that country. And part 2 is how much is, price per square foot, price per square meter on different properties. And we do a CMA, comparative market analysis. So you can see what can you get for what. And why is that important? Because in many places around the world, if most, we don't have an MLS. So the data that we have to find is very manual, tedious, and a CMA can take anywhere from 4 to 12 hours to generate. So when we present these presentations for comparables, it's like a lot of work. So if you see it in 1 hour, it's like a summary of like a lot of work that the agents have put together to share that information with you. Technology is not as heavy, as in the US. It's very, we have to work with what we have outside of the US and Canada markets. The purpose of the call is networking. So you can also do knowledge sharing. Either you're sharing or you're learning from somebody else who's sharing from their country. We do community building because we're a community. And we do share other announcements and updates from different groups and different agents that are doing similar things in the international space. So we want to make sure we highlight them as well. And this, of course, is an opportunity for co-sponsoring, because the more we work together, maybe have an agent in DR, and I don't have any way to support them physically or, mentally, like mindset, but maybe Barbara is, because she's really good at what she does and she can train my agent and partner up. So co-sponsoring is super, key for us. especially connecting with those agents on the ground. Who is this for? This is for all real estate professionals, the call itself, also buyers and investors. Very few enter, mostly agents. New agents and non-EXP agents are welcome to join. We want to make this more of a brokerage agnostic group for international, because many brokerages don't have the opportunity, the means, or the platforms to do international, but they want to, and they're curious, and they might have the clients. So we want to open it to everybody who can work in this community for international. If you're not part of the school community, this is the QR code. You can join. It's a private community. We try to keep everything clear from spam. So once you go here, you see like what are the calls happening every week, what events are happening, and then also you can RSVP, and then it shows in your time zone, so you don't have to wonder what time is the next event. Everything will be there, and this is a much better way to keep a community together instead of Facebook groups, because you get so much noise and you get so crowded in there that Facebook groups have kind of like phased out. School communities are the one thing that I think is keeping us all together, so we don't lose our mind of all the notifications that we get in Facebook. But if you're not a school person, you can join this WhatsApp group, which is International Real Estate Weekly Calls, and we post here all the notifications, all the news, the call announcements, the call reminders, the Zoom links, so you can click and join. So if you stay in this group, you'll see the notifications each week on the calls. If you want to join, good. If not, we post the recording in the same group, so you can go and watch it later whenever you're available. So let's go over the theory on what is a real estate tour. We call it RETW because real estate tour itself is very general. So we're like, RETW is Real Estate Tours Worldwide. What does it stand for? Just that. And what it is a hands-on, relationship-driven international program designed for real estate professionals and investors to expand outside of their inventory or portfolio from the US and Canada. Most of our buyers are from US and Canada into the outside world, so into other countries. And the tour rotate across, we go to multiple countries. Again, this is only 1 year old. But we have done about 5 countries in 1 year. So it's pretty, like intensive. And we love doing it because we get to know and connect, learn, and also bring some clients. So it's like learning and making money. That's perfect combination for me. I don't know for you. But it was born from the need that EXP give us all the platform, the community, the agents, but then sometimes they're ready to go, they're trained, and they're waiting for a client to come, and they don't know how to approach a client. So this is a good way to create lead generation and sales for those agents. So we connect that, and that's the idea with the real estate tours. How can we increase volume of sales? How can we get agents more productive? By increasing their sales opportunity, by highlighting the market. So it's just not selling property for the sake of selling. It's about selling the lifestyle, the infrastructure, the how can you live for less, less, cost of living and things like that. We also address, though, the main thing is that the risks that you can go through when you buy internationally, because it's not all, flowers and rainbows out there. Clients can get in a lot of risk if they don't know what they're doing. They can get into a fraud situation. They can lose money. So we want to make sure that they know what they're getting into. We hold their hand from beginning to end, and we place them with an international real estate expert that knows how they buy and what they need without, the agent being pro, oh, I just care about my commission and I really don't care about the client. We want to make sure that the client is first. This is an independent program, and it was inspired by the trade missions from CIPS, NAR. I don't know if you guys are part of CIPS, but NAR has a similar program. You have to be licensed. For our program, RETW, you don't have to be licensed. You don't need to have any certification. You don't even need to be a realtor. You can be an investor. So this is open to anybody who wants to learn and or buy. So just think about that trade mission from NAR, but no requirements. Meaning, like, if you're not going to do the trip, learn more, bring it back home, maybe get a referral once or twice a year. That's good enough. Like whatever is good for you, your time and your availability. Also, we do inclusive culture, meaning that we're not only EXP, we're open to all the brokerages, and we just collaborate. This is great because nobody feels obligated to join us unless they want to, and if they see that there's value there, of course. But yeah, we kind of collaborate with other agencies as well. We work with Center 21 and Remax in different countries because they have a listing that we need or our client wants. So we have to collaborate to make sure that happens for our client because that's what they want. But we do focus, our end goal is real transactions, create sales so the agents are happy and they stay. Without sales, agents usually don't have any retention, and that's why we want to keep more of that. So how do we take it from the theory to the actual deals and the connecting opportunities that will happen based on that? Who are these tours for? We have three type of people that join, three marketing personas, and of course there are real estate agents, investors, and buyers and families. So investors and families and buyers are in the same bucket of, I'm a client, and the agents are part of our community. How does it work? Again, you don't have to be from our brokerage, you can join, and there's no certification required. And the buyers and investors join because they're curious to buy in that location, but they don't want to feel pressure to buy because a developer flew you there, and now you feel obligated that you have to buy with them, although you didn't like the product. So that's what we're trying to avoid. We don't want to push anybody to any product they don't want. What are the challenges for international real estate? A lot, a ton of them. So I don't know if so many that we couldn't fit it in this slide, but these are just some of them. Some risks to consider on international real estate. Number one for us has been that there's no access to an MLS that is, countrywide outside of US, Canada, and maybe a couple of the countries. And that prevents us from providing the data to the client for comparables and also so they understand what they're buying and if it's a good deal. How do you know it's a good deal? Well, you have to trust your agent locally. And sometimes if you don't know them, how do you know what you're buying is a good deal? So lack of technology, misunderstanding culturally, sometimes language barriers. But it happens every single day. I ended up buying in Mexico as well. I speak Spanish. And even then we had a, friction because they didn't understand how I wanted to buy, which had a process in mind. And then they didn't probably have the agent I was working with didn't have the organization skills or didn't have the communication skills on letting me know or updating me how my project is going. So it's a lot of broken communication that can happen culturally and language, based on language as well. So we keep that in mind because, unless you've gone through it yourself, probably you don't understand how the client can be exposed. But there's a lot of vulnerability also within exchange rates. But also that can be a benefit. So if your currency is strong, then you have a better deal wherever you go to a different country. So we keep an eye on these for different countries to see when it's a good time to buy because your money goes further. So a ton of other risks that you see here. But because of that, Real Estate Tours brings everything, down to the reality. And this is how it is. These are the risks you can go through. Be mindful. One of the main risks that you'll see online, and probably all of you have seen, is that there's scams out there, And what happens with the scams out there? Well, the client can get in trouble because they'll see something that is super beautiful online, and then it looks like it's a real property, but then they click it, these people gather information, phone number, name, email, and start blasting properties that might or might not be real. Sometimes if it's too good to be true, or the price is too low to be, it's such a great deal, maybe that's not, the best property for you, or you have to compare, you have to ask somebody that knows in the area, because buying from an online ad, it's a beginning, the starting point of your research, but I wouldn't recommend anybody to close right away unless they really know that's a trusted developer. So in other countries, there is no consumer protection. You can complain all you want, and you can report the developer. You can do even a lawsuit, and the lawsuit might not even end for 10 years. So if you lost maybe $10,000, imagine 10 years later, maybe that money is not even worth your time. But because of that, we try to do research beforehand so clients don't fall for scams or clickbait something online because it looked nice in the picture. That's why we've seen many things happening. At least in Mexico, we've seen that happening more than once. And the agents, the clients, after they bought one day and they come to us later, they didn't buy with us, and they're asking if we know an attorney. And at that point, we're like, what you bought wasn't compliant in the first place. Who sold you this? Well, the agent is no longer here. She's gone, or he's gone. So this happens every single day. So we want to make sure buyers and clients don't fall into this, because then the bad reputation ends on the country. It's like, well, Mexico is not a good place because I got scammed, or Dominican Republic is not a good place because they ripped me off. So it's not the country's fault; it's the process. Like, who do you trust it? and what happened then. So it's super important that we keep that in mind. International real estate, many countries still manage everything in paper, like physical paper. You have to go to the city, pull the title, pull the records, and somebody has to do it for you. If you don't live in the location, you might not want to go and do it yourself, but your attorney has to do it. And sometimes your attorney has to go with you to every single step of this buying process. So we need to make sure that clients keep that in mind, that some countries still is paper. You have to go to another, take a physical paper, sign it, stamp it, all these things physically to make sure it's a valid contract. So paper is still a big thing. So sometimes many sales that go into the system don't get recorded, or they get recorded but it's private. So we cannot have comparables on real sales and what price did they close, because sometimes they have some privacy rules that we cannot access to the data. So we have to guess. I don't know if anybody else is from a different country, but many times it happens to us that we're like, what was the actual price that it closed? And maybe in the title itself, it's a different price than they actually bought it for. So it's a lot of things that we need to read in between the lines, and that's why these tours are so important, to make sure everybody comes into the same page. So I'm not saying that real estate tours that worldwide is a solution, but it kind of helps a little bit on the mitigating the risk. How do we do it? As I mentioned before, we have weekly webinars every single week, and we cover different countries. We also have informational sessions about the tours that are coming up. We have an online community hub that is in school, which keeps you informed of everything. You can join an RSVP based on your availability or watch recordings. We do have local ambassadors, and we encourage to always, if you have any suggestions of a local ambassador that or it's an agent in your downline, please let me know, because we can include them in the organization part. And also, this all comes together when we do the tours, and the tours are anywhere from 4 to 7 days. And you'll see more of the tours. In the school community, we have some recordings. Again, you can scan this to join the community in school. It's a different platform than Facebook, but it's a much cleaner platform, and or WhatsApp. So you guys saw this QR code earlier. Feel free to join the WhatsApp. School is free. This WhatsApp is free. So you can at least stay tuned and, at least join the calls as you can, at least network with everybody who is going to be there. And then you get to know people as you see them more often. So why are these tours? Why do they matter for agents? If you're an agent right now listening, why do I care? So for me, it has been super important education. So going back to the same concept, right? Like we're hitting the same horse over and over again. Like you need to have education. We can sell a different location somewhere else. I could sell the DR, Dominican Republic. But if I don't know much about, I wouldn't risk my client by telling them something is not, or something a partial truth. So I'd rather rely on Barbara on the ground, that she knows everything about her market, and I can just send my client over and he's or she is in good hands. So consider this as a fun conference, a fun seminar that you're going to not only learn, but experience things firsthand. And it's also a mini vacation. You get away from whatever you are for your everyday, but you're learning. It's probably tax deductible too, because it's like a seminar. And then you can use skills, market data, and we talk about everything related from immigrations, taxation, legal, any market nuances, maybe the political landscape, that because it's a little more, how do you say in English? It's a little more hectic, then the prices are low because people don't want to risk buying there. But again, high risk, high reward. Sometimes people are into low risk, but less return investment, but they don't want to risk so much. Then this is kind of a decision that the client or the investor makes based on how they want to buy. So many agents sell destinations without knowing much, so that risks the clients. We're trying to avoid that, but that's why we want to make sure agents are part of these tours as well, because we connect the agent that wants to learn more with the agent that is in the market, and then they can be comparing notes. They can connect with clients directly one-on-one, and they can learn what can go right, but also what can go wrong, protecting the reputation in that process. Our mission is to, connect across borders, create more revenue for agents, meaning more income, more sales, and also deliver practical education through hands-on experience, because one thing is learning it in a book, and one thing is practicing and actually doing it, and learning from people who do it every day in that specific country, so you know what to be mindful of and what kind of in between the lines you have to read. And of course, the whole community is framed with ethical practices, because what we're trying to promote is ethical practices, so we don't skip our agents on the ground, so we don't jump them around, and we have some comments in the call earlier today on how you can be showing some agents all your inventory, and then they come and jump you and they go straight to the developer. And that's something we want to not do, because our agents on the ground are doing their homework to provide all this information for your for your client to be protected. So I think we like to honor the process. For money, let's talk about money. And anybody who is in this call, maybe it's because you want to make more money outside your local market. How does it work? Well, simple math. This is just a regular referral. Let's say one coming into Chicago. I get a lead for 500,000. Somebody sends it to me for 30%, and I close it, and we split it. So 2%, I make 3,000 if I send the referral that way, or if I receive it this way. How does it? I mean, in other countries right now, the percentages are going from 2 to 4 to 6 to 8, 10%. So this is just a referral number, a reference number. The property might be even half the price of this, but if it's double or triple the commission, then you end up at 6,000 or 9,000 on your split. And this division is done based on whatever you decide with the receiving agent. Nobody is going to tell you what to do. You decide that the one that gives and the one that receives, they will negotiate to a point that makes sense. And usually with our clients in Mexico, if the client is ready, if the other agent has done their homework on the paperwork, we can even do 50-50, and we close them and we give them 50% of our commission. If the client, it takes forever to close, it takes 2 years, it's not ready, they don't know what they want, they don't know where they want it, maybe we can split, we can give out at 15% because the client will take longer, it's more work. So this is kind of an example of, what is the money and why these tours matter for investors. So now we leave the agency behind. Let's talk about your clients, investors, or families. So why is it important for them? Because they can see before they buy. They can vet the developers or the properties as they're there. So many times it happen, I don't know if it happened to you, that some developers will fly and buy, but then you are bounded to their terms and conditions. So because they flew you there and they let you stay there in their properties, then they tell you, okay, this trip would have cost you $6,000. If you don't buy with us, you have to pay that as a trip expense. And sometimes the trip is not worth $6,000, or maybe the trip is worth $2,000. So why would you inflate the price? So I want to spend the money, but I don't want to spend it with you as a developer, let's say. So the idea is they don't feel obligated to buy from them. So we show them several options of different developers, but we're not tied to anyone specifically. But we do the comparables between them so the investors can know what they're getting for what. So they can understand also the full picture, the real numbers. If you just are one client and you go to one developer, they will tell you, oh yeah, the return investment is 15%, and the occupancy rate is 90%, and you can rent it for $300 to $500 per night, when the reality might be a different one. So many times that the developers will tell you everything you want to hear under the sun, but at the time of the actual delivery and when you see the flow and the Airbnb numbers, what they're telling you doesn't make sense. So with this, we're trying to be super transparent on the numbers that we see currently in that market to tell you what is the current ROI that we think it is, an approximation. Also, another thing with this calculating the ROI is that many rentals in other countries are in cash. So probably the Airbnb statement might not show all the transactions that happen in the property. Maybe it's less than that. And then they did the rest in cash. So keep that in mind too. There's a lot of cash transactions outside of the US and Canada, and there are many things off the system. Also, the one thing I want to mention is the rent rolls. Sometimes the person who's selling the house, they give you a report in Excel. And Excel and tells you, in January, I made this, February, blah, blah, blah. And then the number is nice, it's a big number. But that Excel sheet can be done by anybody, can be altered by anybody. And how do you know those numbers are real? So they tell you, oh yeah, the ROI is this much because I make this much every month, but probably those numbers, you just never know if they're true or not. And then again, if it's an Excel sheet, anybody can modify it. So we're very specific on what's the current occupancy rate in that area, so or the client knows the investment. Again, this is a no pressure to buy tour for the buyers and investors. It saves time, avoids scams, as we talk about. They can invest with confidence because at least with the agents that we work with, we try to be super real. Like, let's get to the point, let's get to the truth. to make sure that the clients trust you, especially if they're investors. And if they see the numbers very close to the reality, they might buy with you again, instead of you inflating something to sell something once and then nobody buys from you again because you exaggerated the numbers. So we try to keep the numbers as close as possible to reality that we know, and then make sure that investors come back. Why is it good for buyers and families? Let's say couple, empty nesters, people who are retiring, families that just want to be in the warm weather instead of the cold weather, because of the same thing. So buyers and investors are very similar. But the investors, of course, look at the numbers more, and the buyers buy for lifestyle. I just like the location. I like the proximity to the beach. I like the weather. I just don't care if I make so much money out of it. I just want to have a vacation property. Ideally, if it pays for itself, awesome. But if it doesn't, it's okay too. So then they're like, okay, I just want to buy because of my lifestyle. I want to be close to the community. I want to be close to the restaurants. So then they will explore these properties, again, with no pressure to buy, but they can see the community, what's their closest grocery store, if there's a bus, if there's public transportation. Because if they're not close to things, probably they have to buy a car, they have to rent a car, and that increases their costs, and also the complexity on how they operate from their vacation home. So maybe they want to see this ahead of time as well. Again, they get real answers, no sales pitches, because we're trying to keep everything as real as possible so nobody gets surprised later on, because what we're trying to do is consistent sales, not just a one-off and then too bad for them that the numbers are not accurate. This helps also buyers and communities avoid costly mistakes, stay informed on the lifestyle choices. Sometimes digital nomads are growing in our database. They have lived 1 or 2 years somewhere else and they're ready now to buy. Sometimes it's a whole community. A buyer that I had last year, now we have a tenant for them because we had somebody that was thinking to buy, but they're not ready yet. They want to rent before they buy. So we match them and they have a tenant for a year. And things like that we can create a community around. And then they can also test drive the property, their future. And many times has happened that there's two different couples or two friends that they met in the tour and they end up buying nearby or together, because they're like, well, if I'm not in town, maybe you can watch my property and I watch yours when you're not in town. And then that generates a little bit more of sales volume if they buy as a group, even though they just met. But the lifestyle on the place is what brings people together on what are these tours and what are the benefits for that. Okay, so to wrap it up, what are the benefits for you as an agent? Like, what isn't here for you? Again, the benefits to me, they have been, at least, that our community has been getting tighter together. We help each other. We have similar issues in different parts of the world, from Mexico to Dominican Republic to India to Peru. That we have similar issues. We have legal system is not as strong as in the US, so we have to work around things and we have to kind of guess. But I think engagement and retention for our agents has been huge. Global recognition, because we get recognized that we not only talk about international real estate, we also practice. It's not like, hey, I'm in Houston, I'll never leave Houston, but I'm doing international real estate, but I actually don't travel. So this kind of gives you a little more of that, let's say, background and credibility if you're actually doing it, practicing it, and then helping your clients do these transactions. Of course, the income streams are super important because you're making money. Even if your market is slow, you can still have that extra source of income that can kick in when the market is low in your state. Again, it's practical education and it's good for content creation. This is a picture that we took in Portugal, one of the beautiful homes that we saw. I believe, I have to check with Lisa, but a couple $1 million, but it was a huge land, like 55,000 square feet. They had a lot of beautiful things in between. And I was like, this property, in the US would have cost probably 3x that. But this was beautiful. So then the content that we created here was amazing. We made new friends, agents that I didn't know before. Content creation for yourself, so you can promote yourself as an international agent, because you can be like, I was there, I took a selfie with this property, and that's the property I'm suggesting you to buy. So then that creates that credibility of you being there, understanding, not only copying and pasting a link for a listing. And then we have the videos. The content we create, we share with everybody who was part of the tour. If you scan this QR code, it will take you to the video. that is a summary of the first tour that we did. And it's a fun tour that you get to visit. We did the whole Riviera Maya, and it was a long 12-hour times 4 days, but then it gives you the summary of what we saw. In this QR code, you see the whole playlist of prior ones in case you want to learn more. And with that, I think this is all I have to say, share today, and also that you can go and check later. I want to share with you also. I think it's super important. I forgot what's included and what's not included. So for the ticket price, we have a small ticket price, and it's an average from $200 to $400. So the $200 to $400 includes the transportation. So imagine is that the ticket to a seminar or to a conference, and that will give you access to also daily transportation. We pick you up in the hotel in the morning, we drop you off at night, and we give you the whole tour, seminar, and also the list of vetted listings that we have seen. Not only that, and then you get access to the legal team from the local host, so they can guide you into any questions that you might have, like what is the fideicomiso in Mexico, or am I able to buy, what are the rules, regulations, what are the taxes? So all this information will be given to you. You have access also to the team, and some snacks and water are also provided. What is not provided? So we don't provide, in most cases at all, the hotel Airbnbs or flights, because many people like to fly on their own airlines because they have points, or they want to stay, the Hilton versus the Marriott, and we don't want to push people to go to one place if they like the other, or if they have points and they can stay for free. So we don't provide any of these, and also we don't do meals, but we do have some snacks on the way. Sometimes we have lunch provided by the developers, but this is not every single day. So we want to make sure that excluded, because if we have to include all these, probably a package would be anywhere from $4,000 to $6,000. In this case, you have $400 and you're in, and you get to see the place, and we can guide you on where to stay for this. Each tour will have a whole complete guide on what to expect, what to do, where to stay, more or less, at least the area. And also, we don't do airport transfers because people arrive in different times, different days. So it gets messy when we have to, be organizing as a tourist guide instead of a real estate. We're a real estate company, we're not a touristic company. So we work with tourist agencies. In the next page, I think it is. So we can do, if somebody is not techie or they don't want to book their own thing, they can come here and work directly with the agency. And we have travel agencies that can put all that together for the clients. So if they don't want to book things separately, we work directly with the agency, and then that way they know everything that we're doing those 4 to 6, 7 days. And based on that, they can adjust the itinerary for the clients. We don't do any entertainment outside of the real estate tours either. So maybe they want to do snorkeling, they want to do whatever they want to do. They work that with the travel agency. So we do refer those out. But for some tours, we'll be including some of the activities. And that will be, for example, in South Africa. In South Africa, we'll have a 7-day tour. Some of those will include a safari tour, and that will be included in the whole thing. But again, just keep in mind, the more is included, the more the price. But the ticket, at least, you can get in for $400, and you are in for those 4 days. The South Africa will vary based on the dates, but we're trying to come up with those numbers right now so people can know ahead of time, this is what I'm paying, this is what I'm spending, this is how I can budget on, and then your clients too. They can work with that. With that, I will finish because the rest of this presentation is specific to the next tour that we have in Riviera Maya. And I want to make sure that, let me see here, stop sharing, that whoever is here has the information that we need. And we're going to start with questions, if anybody has any, and I will be posting these in YouTube.